What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training. And today we're going to be breaking down how wide receivers can avoid getting jammed. So we're going to be showing you guys a bad example of a wide receiver off the line where he gets jammed and completely rerouted to the sideline. Then we're going to show a great example of Justin Jefferson combating a physical DB who's lunging at him on the goal line to avoid that jam. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it teaches you a few new things about press releases. But also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you want to come out and get some work in with us this offseason, we are going to be traveling out to 5 more states across the United States for 2-day-long quarterback and wide receiver training camps. So if you guys are local to the Columbus, Ohio area, Chicago, Illinois, Dallas, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, and Los Angeles, California areas, or would like to travel out and get some work in with us, check out that very first link below. We've already been to 5 states. We love connecting with you guys. That turnout from our YouTube audience at these things have been crazy, and so we really appreciate the support, and we'd love to help more of you guys improve your game. And again, small group atmosphere, not a million kids like all these other camps that you see. So check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to have you out to one of our camps. Let's get started. So first example here, the 2 things that you got to make sure that you're always doing when you're going up against DB and press, and we don't talk about this a lot on this channel, is pad level off the line. We do mention that often, but your hands. You have to have your hands ready to go, right? So this receiver does neither of those. He comes off the line and he pops his chest up and his hands are down almost by his knees. That is an easy target for that DB, and all he has to do is get hands on you to disrupt the timing of this play. So let's play this thing full speed one more time. So he comes off the line and you see DB gets hands, gets inside of his frame, screwed up the timing, receiver quits on the play just because it's a dead rep, right? We cannot get rerouted all the way to the sideline like this. So how do I avoid this? This is something that wide receivers, they struggle with, especially when a DB is not giving them that much space, right? So a lot of guys, it's easy when a DB's in like catch technique, when he's 2 to 3 off, because okay, we got some space to work. I could attack him. I could make him uncomfortable. But when he's right up in my face, what do I got to make sure that I do? Number one thing is pad level. Because as soon as you start to pop up and as soon as you start to raise your chest, you are going to be off balance. Think of it like this, like you're standing in front of somebody and you've got a good base, your legs are bent, you're dropping your butt down and your pad level or your upper body is shifted forward. Then have somebody try to push you as hard as they can. It's going to be a little bit harder to knock you over, right? But now when you stand and you have your chest straight up in the air and maybe your feet, your knees aren't as bent, somebody pushes you, it's much easier to knock you off your balance. It's much easier to knock you off that line. So as a wide receiver, I need to understand that off the line, when I'm doing any kind of move, I got to stay in that position because that's where I'm most explosive. And that explosion, or that balance, I should say, is what combats the jam. Because even if he does get hands, I'm not going to get knocked off of this thing. I'm going to be able to stay on this line, fight the hands, and be able to push back up vertical. Now, whatever release you guys decide to choose, we cannot have my hands do this, shoot out wide outside my frame. You see a lot of wide receivers do that when they're doing drill work. They'll have their hands, they'll swing their hands way outside their frame. It's almost like they're like opening a door, if you will, and they're swinging way open. All that does is expose the number and makes it easier for the DB to jam. DBs want to get hands on you. Their whole goal in press coverage is to disrupt timing. Our goal in press is to keep timing and keep spacing with the quarterback. But if I stand up and drop my hands, I can't do either of those. So now we're going to play this full speed one more time. Then we're going to show a great example of Justin Jefferson applying all of these things, one of the best route runners in the league. So let's play it again. Again, just can't drop those hands, can't pop that pad level up. A good DB will be all over that thing, okay? So now, Justin Jefferson on the goal line, right? Things are in tight. And everybody's go-to release, by the way, fellas, in this situation is like a step back release, right? So what is a step back release? That's where you're lined up here. DB's going to be physical. And instead of like giving some kind of move here or attacking him, guys will take this foot and they'll step backwards. Now, the problem is with that, there are situations that allow for it, but there are also situations where if you step back like that, what if you're in a stack formation? What if you're in a bunch formation? What if you have to run a drag and you got to get across the field right now? You don't have time to do that step back release. So you have to have other tools in your arsenal. And that's what Justin Jefferson shows here. So he does something called a split release. And a split release is a great release to use against a guy who likes to get a little handsy when you have to keep a good pad level and get up into the route. So what does he do? Play this thing full speed. Great pad level, has the hands active, is able to swat the hands, and is able to get across the field and get some separation. So let's talk about it, right? So split release is exactly how it sounds. You're pretty much just splitting your feet. Your front foot goes out It does not go up. It does not go backwards. Your front foot goes out and your back foot comes up even with your front foot, and both feet hit the ground at the same time. Now that is like a form of hesitation, but also it gets you to a good explosive base. Look at his pad level. His chest is not straight up in the air. So if this DB does get hands, what can he do? He could just shred the hands off, dip his shoulder, but he's ready for it. If this guy gets hands, it is not going to be the end of the world because we're in a good explosive pad level position and a strong base. That is where we have to get to. So whenever a guy's asked me about, okay, what if I got a DB who wants to be physical? I always recommend maybe like some kind of split release or maybe a little like hezzy slide release because you can get to this position right here. Good pad level and a good base. That is what will combat this guy who's trying to get hands on you. Now, where are his hands at? Right by his knees. So many wide receivers do not drop the hands low, do not flare the hands out like you're opening up a door. You have to have them ready to go and ready to swat because if he does get hands, you see how it's, okay, I'm in a position ready to attack. I can just shrug him off. I am in a good pad level. He gets hands. It's not going to disrupt me. If I try to just cross his face and my pad level's super high, I'm knocked completely off this route. Stay in an explosive spot. Have your hands ready to go so I could just swat him. And when I swat those hands, I am home free because of my pad level and because I was ready to go with my hands. There are a million different releases you can use. I love the split release, but when you're explosive in a good balanced position and your hands are ready to go, there isn't too much that a DB can do to you, especially if it's an even matchup. He's a good size. You're both, relatively similar size, similar strength. Let's watch the thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Jefferson, hitting the split release, freezing the DB, trying to get his hands on him and shrugging those hands right off. Great route. That's how you beat a physical DB and avoid getting jammed. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys per usual. You guys help keep the channel going, so we really appreciate it. We really appreciate all the suggestions that you guys give. And again, fellas, if you want to come out and get some work in with us, we're coming out to Columbus, Chicago, Dallas, Nashville, and Los Angeles. We'd love to have you out to one of our off-season camps, 2 days, 4 hours each day. So that's 8 hours of training over the course of the entire weekend. And again, small group atmosphere, only 10 to 12 guys per position group. So we'd love to have you out there. I'll see you guys next time. Check out that very first link in the description.